I'm so down. I love rocking apps. I really do.
I know. I feel like you can start strong.
A civil authority has issued a civil danger warning for the following counties: El Paso, Hudspeth, Jeff Davis, Presidio, Brewster, Terrell, Val Verde, Kinney, Maverick, Webb, Zapata, Star, Hidalgo, and Cameron. Information of gunfire near the Texas-Mexico border has been received, first reported at 5:20 p.m. today. It is advised that all citizens from the aforementioned counties stay away from the border, as it is considered extremely dangerous. This is the end of this message. Please stay tuned to media outlets regarding this situation.
Team here, no, not stop.
So cold.
We now know the reports of explosions near the border have been confirmed, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. On the screen now, you can see the multiple pictures of the scene developing on the border. Don't forget, we are still taking your calls at 817-586-7211. Right now, we have an eyewitness on the scene, Jeremy. What can you see?
Hi. Well, what I can see isn't a pretty sight because all you can see really is just smoke. I've seen thousands of Army vehicles racing towards the border the National Guard have blocked most of the area off, but me and a few more witnesses are still observing from afar. There have been a few more explosions, but mainly just gunfire. The problem
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Texas state government. All counties across the border should shelter in place effective immediately. All highways in a 50-mile radius of the border have been closed to the public and are being used for military purposes. The National Guard has been deployed within the state of Texas. A curfew for all of Texas state has been imposed effective from 10:05 p.m. today to 5 a.m. on the 2nd of February 2024. Rioting and looting within major cities in Texas have also been reported. If you take part in any civil unrest, you could be arrested, fined, or even face imprisonment. This is the end of this message. Please stay tuned to media outlets regarding this situation.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott said his state will continue to hold the line against the Biden administration's border crisis. Almost all of the Republican governors are rallying behind Abbott in his border showdown. 25 Republican governors signed a letter supporting Abbott and affirming that the state has the constitutional right to defend itself, including adding more razor wire along the Rio Grande to secure the border.
Listen, I'm proud of the great state of Texas. I'm proud of our governor. I'm proud of our state legislature because they're stepping up and defending our state from invasion. Listen, the mayor of a bunch of blue cities, the governors of a bunch of blue states have declared illegal immigration emergencies in their states. That's true in New York. That's true in Boston. That's true in Massachusetts. That's true in Chicago. That's true in L.A. Eric Adams, the liberal Democrat in New York, has said illegal immigration is destroying New York City. That's 110,000 people are destroying New York City. I agree with him. But if 110,000 people are destroying New York City, what the hell do you think 9.6 million people are doing to Texas and the other states on the southern border? And so Texas is stepping up to defend our state. I'm glad we are. But the reason Texas is doing so is because Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and the Democrats affirmatively want this invasion. By the way, you want to know why negotiating with these guys, why they're doing it in such bad faith? They are today, as you pointed out, Joe Biden is litigating against the state of Texas to try to stop Texas from securing the border. Yes, Biden is fighting ferociously to stop Texas from defending ourselves. He is wrong.
We need to let Greg Abbott do his job, which is to put up the razor wire. I stand with Texas. We've got to secure this border.
And with those crossings at an all-time high, the Biden administration is putting a greater focus on border security, claiming the president wants to do more, but it's up to Congress to appropriate funding. At the same time, the White House is also pushing for big changes to the immigration system.
He's asking for more resources, and he wants to see additional resources, but also changes to policy to address what we've been seeing at the border.
I'm not for just having 1.8 million people come across the border. I think there are national security problems with that.
Governor Abbott and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton say they will continue fighting and keep the razor wire up.
From Congress is some breaking news that 25 states have voted against President Biden's immigration policies in cooperation with Texas's retaliation effort. Multiple governors have met to discuss their future actions amid growing tensions between the 25 states and the Joe Biden administration. An emergency bill may be passed through into the Senate and House. The 25 states have demanded this bill be put through before the 7th of February to avoid further escalation, but the Joe Biden administration stated that their demands may not be plausible. Governors of each state have displayed voting polls on their websites and voting booths, asking if the states should retaliate in cooperation with the state of Texas, or whether they should protect the Biden administration. In the last 6 hours of its display, the results show a landslide, leaning in support of Texas's efforts with 85%. Meanwhile, Biden's support shows the opposite, with only 15% voting in favor. Presidential candidate Donald Trump has took to social media platform X, also showing his support for Texas's efforts, garnering over 800,000 likes in its first 5 hours.
This is an emergency action notification message. All broadcast stations and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is KTBC News Channel. We will continue to serve the District of Austin area. If you are not in this local area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. You are listening to the Emergency Alert System, serving the District of Austin area. Do not use your telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. 25 states across the United States have attempted to block all access entering the state. As a result, multiple uprisings have occurred. Consequently, civil unrest has become prevalent throughout the United States. The National Guard has been deployed to combat the situation, but has been unsuccessful as of now. Cities with a population over 500,000 in the United States have been declared unsafe, so it is advised that you do not go into highly populated areas. At this time, the best course of action is to stay in your homes until told to exit. Martial law is now in effect, which means the entire United States is under strict military authority. This message will repeat.
In California, 12.5 million people are currently rioting on the streets. In Texas, it's 9 million, Florida, 5 million, New York, 7 million, Pennsylvania, 3 million, Illinois, 2.5 million, Ohio, 5 million, Georgia, 3.5 million, North Carolina, 2.5 million. I mean, when does it stop? Who is stopping this? When is it going to conclude? I mean, the numbers are astonishing. The number of people acting like this has never, in history, been this severe. I think right now, we are witnessing the second civil war. I don't care if people disagree. We are unbelievably divided. Biden has completely lost control. He can't even be in the White House. That's how dangerous the situation is. 25 states have now voted to recede. Yes, recede from the United States' authority. This is what Biden has to say.
Hello, my fellow Americans. As you will know, the past week has not been ideal. There is now more division within the United States, but that united in the United States is in jeopardy. The thing that made this great nation so great is now being used for malicious purposes. Texas has forced control over the authority of our one government and has used lethal force to conduct this. This is unacceptable. We retaliate. We are in the wrong. That is not how this goes. Governor Abbott is a traitor to this country, as is the 24 states that support him. We will not stop until full law and order is restored. We have put martial law in place. We have used force. And now my administration is under threat. We have no choice but to put the entire United States under critical terrorist threat. Expect strict authority, curfews, change of laws, and human rights to be breached, all in the heart to protect the citizens of this country. I'm deeply saddened it has to come to this, but the nation is divided, and it is our duty to mend it back together.
Hammond, ladies and gentlemen.
Please stand by for an important message. Make sure your device is audible.
The 25 states that have sided with Texas's efforts have voted to recede from the United States' authority. Even though our bid was rejected, we will still take action upon this decision. The Biden administration has forced his power and has now pledged to breach human rights. This goes against every amendment that our founding fathers fought for. This is completely unacceptable, and as a result of this, we, as a union, as united, we have decided to part ways with the United States of America. Any attempt of force from the American government will be countered. The citizens of this country have fought for freedom over the past 3 days and have now prevailed. What this means for the citizens of the Republican states of America is as follows. First, we will start by easing the strict military presence within the states as the feud continues to de-escalate. Secondly, we will introduce a one-party political system, which will be a revolutionary step forward in securing that this nation's future is in good hands, voted for by the people. Thirdly, we will cease trade with the United States, meaning no products will enter the RSA, Republican States of America, legally. We will obtain our sources from global exports, as we have multiple countries on our side, defending us and supplying us economically and trade-oriented goods, which include countries like Cuba, Thailand, Brazil, Argentina, Mongolia, and Italy. Even though the government has changed, the flag has changed, the map has changed, the ideology, strength, and influence of both the United States and the Republican states have changed, law and order will still be maintained. Most, if not all, jobs will still remain as they did before this division. The only exception is that the poorer will receive enhanced benefits from the Republican government. The working class of this country will be more economically better off than before. Benefits will be incorporated into low-income households, taking inspiration from countries like the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Switzerland. The citizens of the Republican states of America's lives will all but worsen. This is the freedom that you fought for. The citizens of this new nation have fought and won, and now they have received. God bless you and the Republican States of America.
Exports of nuclear weapons to aid the United States has begun. Multiple world leaders have joined this effort, as the latest United Nations emergency meeting took place just 3 hours ago. The UK, France, Japan, India, Pakistan, and Germany have all agreed to aid the United States, both economically and militarily. Hundreds of nuclear weapons have already begun distribution to the US. Joe Biden states that in order to protect the people that remain within the US, we have to prepare for the worst. The Republican states have obtained nuclear weapons, especially the bases in Nevada, and as a result, we cannot take any chances. On the 3rd of February, 25 governors voted to recede from United States authority after it was rejected. The states took matters into their own hands. On February 2, 2024, 25 states from the United States launched a historical attack upon its own. They sealed themselves off from the rest of the United States, blocking anyone from leaving or entering. The states themselves still pose a direct threat towards the United States, as they still have a strong military presence. Still, there are military bases that still remain inside that 25-state boundary, equipped with high-tech equipment and even thousands of nuclear weapons.
We navigated a turbulent housing market by
Buying a motorhome.
Please listen to the following information.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the Republican States government. The United States has launched 15 medium-range ballistic missiles towards the RSA. The impact locations have been confirmed. If you are in a 40-mile radius of each location, please seek an underground shelter immediately. Alabama Anniston Army Depot, Benham, Fort Novosel, Daleville, Maxwell AFB and AMP. Gunter Annex, Montgomery, Redstone Arsenal, Huntsville, Arkansas, Little Rock AFB, Jacksonville, Pine Bluff Arsenal, Whitehall, Florida, Arnold AFB, Manchester, Tennessee Eglin AFB, Destin, Hurlburt Field, Wright, McDill AFB, Tampa, Naval Air Station, Jacksonville, Nevada, Creech AFB, Indian Springs, Naval Air Station Fallon, Nellis AFB, Las Vegas, Georgia, Fort Eisenhower, Augusta, Fort Moore, Columbus, Fort Stewart, Flemington, Hunter Army Airfield, Savannah, Ohio, Defense Supply Center, Columbus, Cleveland Battalion, Cleveland, Columbus Battalion, Columbus, South Carolina, Fort Jackson, Columbia, Joint Base, Charleston, MCAS Beaufort, Burton, MCRD Paris Island. In your shelter, bring the following: bottled water, canned food, battery-powered radio. Post-detonation, radiation will start to spread throughout the aforementioned regions. This is called fallout. Fallout is a deadly byproduct of a nuclear detonation. It can take up to 2 weeks for it to settle onto the ground. The following message is transmitted at the request of the
This is an emergency action notification message. All broadcast stations and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is WABC TV News Channel. We will continue to serve the New York City area. Do not use your telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. Information of a nuclear attack against the United States has been received. 20 long-range ballistic missiles have been sent to the following locations, confirmed by United States radar: New York City, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Phoenix, Philadelphia, San Diego, San Jose, Charlotte, San Francisco, Seattle, Denver, Boston, Portland, Louisville, Detroit, Milwaukee, Albuquerque, and Tucson. If you are in a 60-mile radius of these locations, seek immediate shelter. In your shelter, bring enough canned food and bottled water to last up to 14 days, and a battery-powered radio. It is advised that you stay in your shelter for up to 14 days. This is due to fallout radiation. Nuclear fallout is the residual radioactive material propelled into the upper atmosphere following a nuclear blast. Exposure to very large doses of external radiation may cause death within a few days or months. External exposure to lower doses of radiation and internal exposure from breathing or eating food contaminated with radioactive fallout may lead to an increased risk of developing cancer and other health effects. This message will repeat.
We have the latest pictures of the situation in America. Here we have New York. As you can see, the detonation is confirmed to be around the lower Manhattan area. As you can imagine, a lot of destruction. Now we have the picture of Los Angeles. Yeah, you can see the fire created by the blast, the beginning stages of the detonation pre-shockwave. We can confirm it was detonated in the Los Angeles Financial District. We now know that every building from that neighborhood has unfortunately been flattened. Chicago, nothing changed in comparison to New York and Los Angeles, except for maybe a larger mushroom cloud. We can expect severe damage to the city. We also have the photo for San Francisco. The detonation takes place in the city center, a very large mushroom cloud, a bit more to the right of the camera. We will bring you more footage as the situation develops extremely
A civil authority has issued an administrative message for the following areas. New York City, at 11:47 a.m. on Feb 22, 2024, effective until 11:47 p.m. The U.S. government have recommended that you now exit your shelters. Food banks and refugee facilities will be available. It is now safe to go outside. Radiation is now at a safe level. If you are injured, go to your nearest refugee center, and you will be transferred to your nearest medical clinic. The White House will make a statement shortly. Telephone lines have been kept open for emergency use only. If you have medical emergencies, call 211. For any other emergency, call 911 or 311.
A representative of the president will now speak.
My fellow Americans, today, I stand before you in the aftermath of a trying period for our great nation. We find ourselves at the end of a bitter civil war, a conflict that not only tested our democratic foundations, but also brought about unprecedented challenges. The scars of division run deep, as do the wounds inflicted by a regrettable nuclear exchange that further intensified the gravity of our struggle. In the face of adversity, we must now summon the strength and resilience that define us as Americans. The path to peace was not easy, and the toll exacted by the conflict has been high. Families torn apart, communities shattered, and a nation left to rebuild amidst the ruins of conflict. Yet, even in our darkest hour, the flame of hope has not been extinguished. We must recognize the sacrifices made by those who bore the burden of this war. Soldiers who fought bravely, civilians who endured hardships, and families who lost loved ones. Their sacrifices serve as a somber reminder of the cost of division and the importance of our shared commitment to a united America. As we emerge from the shadows of war, let us embrace a spirit of reconciliation. The time for healing is now, as we work together to mend the fractures that have divided us. Rebuilding our nation requires unity, and it is incumbent upon each and every one of us, Republicans and Democrats alike, to set aside partisan differences for the collective good of our nation. In the wake of the nuclear exchange, we must also address the pressing challenges of reconstruction and recovery. Our commitment to rebuilding extends beyond physical infrastructure to the restoration of trust, cooperation, and shared values. We will harness the resilience that defines us as a nation to rebuild not just our cities, but also the bonds that unite us. In this endeavor, I call upon leaders from both parties to join hands in a collaborative effort to chart a course towards a brighter future. The lessons of our past must guide us as we shape a more inclusive and equitable America. Our diversity is our strength, and by fostering understanding and empathy, we can rise above the discord that led us to this point. To the international community, let this moment be a testament to the enduring spirit of democracy. Our commitment to a united, free, and peaceful America remains unwavering. We will engage in diplomatic efforts to rebuild bridges with nations that may have been strained during this conflict, seeking common ground and shared prosperity. My fellow Americans, the road ahead may be challenging, but our collective determination will overcome any obstacle. As we stand on the precipice of a new era, let us remember the words of Abraham Lincoln: "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Today, we pledge to rebuild our house, to stand united once more, and to forge a future that is brighter and more resilient than ever before. May God bless you all, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.